After reading my chosen novel, the main system looked at me in disbelief. Your husband is a miracle doctor. His childhood friend is a poison expert. One poisons you, the other saves you over and over again. It paused dramatically. Are you seriously choosing to enter this toxic romance? The floating screen flickered suspiciously. I have a bad feeling about this. You're definitely planning something. I smiled innocently while secretly modifying my character settings. It's fine, I said. I'll just bring a system with me. The main system sighed.
Fine.
What kind of system do you want? Mind reading? Supreme charm? Medical genius? Just before my consciousness was transported into the novel world, I grinned and left behind 4 words. Pain transfer. For the first time in centuries, the main system looked genuinely shocked. Holy crap. Then everything went black. Unfortunately, my luck was terrible. The moment I arrived, the poison was already taking effect. A wave of agony exploded through my body before I could even open my eyes properly. My vision blurred. My limbs felt as though countless burning needles were piercing through them. I collapsed onto the cold stone floor, unable to stop the scream that tore from my throat. Nearby, Emma watched with folded arms and a mocking smile. This poison is taking forever to work. She crouched beside me, examining me like a curious experiment. Did you develop immunity or something? The timing is much later than I expected. She shrugged casually. Whatever. Endure it for now. Her tone was as relaxed as if discussing the weather. Jake's busy today. He'll cure you when he gets back. With that, she stood up and left. The sound of her cheerful footsteps echoed down the corridor. Meanwhile, I remained sprawled on the floor in the most undignified position imaginable. A moment later, my maid rushed in. The young girl's face turned pale with terror. Madam. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she struggled to help me up. After several failed attempts, she finally managed to drag me back to my room. The pain felt like molten lava flowing through my veins. I gritted my teeth, so hard my jaw ached. Sweat soaked my clothes. Every breath felt like swallowing broken glass. Inside my mind, my tiny companion system was panicking. Host. Should I transfer the pain now? I barely managed to force out 2 words. Not yet. Thankfully, the poison wasn't immediately fatal. It attacked in waves. Each surge nearly killed me. Each pause gave me just enough time to recover before the next assault arrived. During one of those brief moments of relief, I finally spoke to my system. The original author was too conservative. She spent pages describing how heartbreaking the romance was. I wiped sweat from my forehead. Honestly, she didn't need all that. The system blinked. What do you mean? She only needed to describe this poison accurately. Another spasm shot through my body. I groaned. Readers would have cried on their own. The system laughed. That's impossible. The author never got poisoned. How would she know what it feels like? I considered that. Fair point. Then I began counting on my fingers. This feels like laser hair removal, tooth extraction, stomach ulcers, hemorrhoid surgery, and smashing an infected toe into furniture. I paused dramatically. All happening simultaneously. The system stared. That's horrifying. And without anesthesia. The system was silent for several seconds. Host, that's the most vivid description you've ever given. Thank you. Then why are you enduring all this? Just transfer the pain already. I slowly shook my head. I want to know something. What? I stared at the canopy above my bed. I want to know whether Sarah would have forgiven Jake if she hadn't died. The system couldn't understand. As a machine, human emotions often made no sense to it. So, it asked carefully, will you forgive him? A smile appeared on my lips. It was a very dangerous smile. Forgive him. I laughed softly. My foot. If I don't destroy this toxic couple, then what was the point of entering this novel? The system suddenly felt nervous for the story's future. Several hours later, Jake returned. The moment he learned I had been poisoned, he came directly to my courtyard. Without even changing clothes, he sat beside my bed and immediately began treating me. His long fingers moved skillfully across several acupuncture points. Silver needles flashed under the candlelight. A faint medicinal fragrance filled the room. Gradually, the pain eased. When he looked down at me, his eyes were full of concern. Sarah. His voice was gentle enough to melt hearts. Emma is just childish. I almost rolled my eyes. Jake continued. Please don't take it personally. You know my mentor entrusted her to me before he passed away. I have a responsibility to care for her. His expression was sincere. You're my wife. We're a family. I'm not asking you to treat her like your own sister. I only hope that when she makes mistakes, you'll forgive her for my sake. Lying weakly against the pillows, I gazed at him with what looked like deep affection. Inside, however, I was already cursing him. I love you, you idiot. May all 18 generations of your ancestors line up to haunt you. Still, not a trace of my thoughts appeared on my face. Instead, I smiled softly. Husband, don't worry. I won't blame Emma. Relief instantly appeared in his eyes. Jake leaned down and kissed my forehead. I knew my Sarah was the kindest. Rest. I'm going to the pharmacy. As soon as he left, the sweetness vanished from my expression. I sat up. Then I headed straight for Emma's residence. Emma was lounging comfortably in a courtyard chair when I arrived. Seeing me, she looked me up and down with obvious disappointment. Oh, you came to confront me already? A cruel smile curved her lips. Looks like I should use stronger poison next time. Ignoring the provocation, I calmly sat across from her. What exactly do you want? Emma raised an eyebrow. If you're in love with Jake, I continued, I can divorce him. You can have him. For a moment, Emma looked stunned. Then she burst out laughing. It was the kind of laugh reserved for hearing the world's funniest joke. My blessing. She wiped away an imaginary tear. Who needs your blessing? Her eyes sparkled with obsession. Jake is my senior brother. He was mine first. I frowned. He's your senior. Your mentor asked him to look after you. That won't change. I leaned forward slightly. But why do you keep targeting me? I've never done anything to you. Emma's expression remained carefree. You didn't. Then why? She tilted her head. Because I don't like you. The answer was so simple that it almost stunned me. I don't want Jake paying attention to other women. I blinked. But I just offered him to you. Emma laughed again. Marry him. She looked horrified. No thanks. What's so great about marriage? I'd have to cook, clean, and have babies. She waved her hand dismissively. You can handle all that. Then her smile widened. I just want to be his precious junior sister. The one he thinks about every day. The one he spoils. The one who can call him anytime and have him come running. Her eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Just imagining how angry that makes you is enough to make me happy. I released a long sigh. This was probably my final attempt at reason. Then there's no need to poison me. Emma's eyebrow rose. No need. She leaned forward. If I don't poison you, what should we do? Play loving sisters? A cold laugh escaped her lips. Never. Her gaze darkened. I want to watch you suffer. I want Jake to be angry with me. I want him helpless. Helpless, yet still forced to protect me. The madness in her smile made the afternoon sunlight seem cold. At that moment, I finally understood. Emma didn't love Jake. Not really. She loved being the center of his world. And she would happily destroy everyone around him to keep it that way. Only then did I finally understand. Completely. I looked at Emma for a long moment before nodding slowly. I see. I didn't say another word. There was nothing left to say. Inside my mind, however, the system was utterly baffled. So, what's her motive exactly? I answered without hesitation. Pure evil. The system fell silent. Honestly, there was no better explanation. Emma didn't want Jake's love. She didn't want marriage. She didn't even want a future with him. She simply enjoyed hurting people. And, unfortunately, I happened to be her favorite target. My final visit, which had appeared calm and peaceful on the surface, only encouraged her further. She interpreted my restraint as weakness. A fatal mistake. Sure enough, only a few days later, she poisoned me again. The moment the toxin entered my bloodstream, I noticed the difference. The familiar burning sensation spread through my veins, but this time it was sharper, more vicious, like molten metal pouring through my organs. I closed my eyes and carefully felt the poison for a few seconds. Then I smiled. She had definitely increased the dosage. Well, in that case, I couldn't be blamed for defending myself. System. My voice was calm. Transfer the pain to Emma. The system practically exploded with excitement. Finally, I've been waiting for this. Without another word, it activated the pain transferability. The next second, the unbearable agony vanished from my body. The relief was almost heavenly. Unfortunately, The poison itself remained. Pain and injury were two different things. Even though I could no longer feel the suffering, the toxins were still damaging my organs from the inside. My face remained pale. My pulse remained weak, and blood still lingered faintly at the corner of my lips. Not long afterward, Emma immediately sent someone to summon Jake. But as expected, Jake came to my courtyard first. No matter how confused the situation was, he couldn't imagine that I would poison Emma. The very thought was absurd to him. When he entered my room and saw me sitting weakly against the bedpost, his expression darkened. My hands trembled slightly. My complexion was ghostly pale. Even my breathing appeared strained. Jake's eyes filled with distress. Emma is becoming more outrageous. His jaw tightened. She's getting far too reckless. I lowered my eyes and leaned weakly against his chest. Tears shimmered at the corners of my eyes. Outwardly, I looked like a fragile wife enduring endless abuse. Internally, I was thinking something entirely different. You idiot. Apparently poison came with a grading scale. Mild poison was acceptable. Severe poison crossed the line. What a fascinating moral standard. Jake knew nothing of my thoughts. He carefully prepared several silver needles and reached for my wrist. Just as he was about to begin treatment, hurried footsteps echoed outside. A maid burst through the doorway. Her face was completely drained of color. "Mr. Johnson." She dropped to her knees. "Please come see Miss Emma. She's rolling on the floor in pain. She's really going to die." Jake froze. His brows immediately furrowed. A trace of suspicion crossed his face. Medicine and poison shared the same foundation. Emma had studied under the same master as him. Even if she wasn't capable of curing every illness, suppressing pain and stabilizing herself should have been easy. There was no reason for her to be screaming in agony, much less rolling across the floor. Jake clearly didn't want to leave. But the maid's panic looked genuine. Her entire body was shaking. Tears streamed down her cheeks. For a moment, Jake hesitated. I gently reached out and grabbed his sleeve. Looking up at him, I shook my head weakly. "Husband, you should check on Emma first." Jake frowned. "But your condition?" I forced a small smile. With her medical knowledge, if she's suffering this much, something must be seriously wrong. I lowered my gaze. As for me, I've survived her poison before. As long as you're here, my life isn't in danger. The guilt in Jake's eyes deepened instantly. To my surprise, the fool actually agreed. "All right," he sighed. "I'll go take a look." For one brief moment, I had an overwhelming urge to grab the silver needles in his hand and stab them directly into his eyeballs. I managed to suppress the impulse. Barely. Instead, I slowly pushed myself upright. "I'll come too." Jake immediately objected. "You're too weak. You need rest." I stared at him. "You know I'm weak. That's literally why you're worried." Amazing deduction skills. "It's all right." I lowered my voice. "Emma is important. If she's uncomfortable, I might be able to help. I'm a woman. There are things she may not want to tell you." Jake couldn't find a flaw in that reasoning. After a brief hesitation, he carefully supported me to my feet. His arm wrapped around my waist as he helped me walk. Step by step, we made our way toward Emma's courtyard. The moment we arrived, we heard screams. Loud screams. Painful screams. The kind of screams that sounded as if someone were being skinned alive. The maid hadn't exaggerated. Not even a little. Emma was in a truly miserable state. Her expensive robes were wrinkled beyond recognition. Her hair had completely come loose. The elegant young woman who always carried herself with pride was now sprawled across the floor, rolling, crying, kicking, screaming. Every few seconds, another howl tore from her throat. She looked less like a poison expert and more like someone possessed by a demon. I almost felt impressed. The pain transfer system was working beautifully. Standing behind Jake, where only Emma could see me, I allowed myself a small smile. A very small one. Just enough. Emma's eyes immediately locked onto mine. For a split second, she froze. Then she saw the amusement hidden in my expression. Saw the satisfaction. Saw that I wasn't suffering at all. Realization flashed across her face. Her pupils contracted violently. And in that instant, Emma completely lost her mind. "You!" Emma shrieked, her voice cracking into a raw, ragged edge. She dragged herself across the floor, her fingernails clawing at the polished wood, leaving faint red streaks behind. "It's you. You did this to me. Jake, she's killing me." Jake rushed forward, immediately dropping to his knee beside her. He tried to catch her writhing wrists, his face a mask of profound confusion and professional alarm. Emma, calm down. Sarah has been in her room the entire time. She was poisoned too. Look at her. She can barely stand. I chose that exact moment to let my knees buckle slightly. I leaned heavily against the doorway, letting out a soft, fragile gasp. I even managed to squeeze a tear out of my left eye. Inside my head, the system was practically eating popcorn. Oh, this is cinema. Look at her roll. Host, you deserve an Oscar. Hush, I thought back, keeping my expression perfectly tragic. I am a grieving, long-suffering wife. Maintain decorum. She's lying. Emma howled, a fresh wave of my transferred agony hitting her like a physical blow. She arched her back, her face contorting into a mask of pure terror. To her, it felt like molten metal was dissolving her intestines, yet physically, her body was completely unharmed. That was the beauty of the pain transfer. Her pulse was steady. Her organs were fine. She was just experiencing the exact, unadulterated torment she had designed for me. Jake, it hurts. Make it stop. Give me the neutralizing pill from my top drawer. Jake didn't hesitate. He scrambled over to her cabinet, retrieved a small porcelain vial, and forced a bitter black pill down her throat. Emma swallowed it greedily, panting, waiting for the sweet relief of her own antidote. 1 second passed. 5 seconds. A whole minute. The screaming resumed, louder this time. Why isn't it working? It's the right antidote. Why does it still burn? Because, I thought to myself with a cold smirk, you didn't swallow the poison, Emma. You swallowed the pain. And there is no antidote for karma. Jake was growing desperate. He grabbed Emma's wrist to check her pulse, his brow furrowing deeper and deeper until his forehead looked like a plowed field. This makes no sense. Your pulse is perfectly normal. Strong, even. There are no toxins in your bloodstream. Are you calling me a liar? Emma screamed, slapping his hand away. I am burning alive. Look at her. Why isn't she crying? She's the one who took the poison. Jake turned his head to look at me. There was a flickering, dangerous spark of suspicion in his eyes. He was a miracle doctor, after all. He knew something was fundamentally wrong with this picture. I didn't give him time to think. I let out a choked sob, covered my mouth, and let a small, carefully preserved drop of real blood spill past my lips. My body was still technically damaged, after all. Husband, I feel so dizzy. If Emma is well enough to scream at me, I think I should go back and rest. The sight of my blood instantly shattered Jake's suspicion. His savior complex kicked into overdrive. He abandoned the screaming Emma on the floor, rushed over to me, and lifted me into his arms. As he carried me away, I looked over his shoulder. Emma was staring at me through a tangle of sweaty hair, her eyes wide with a mixture of agony and dawning horror. Round 1 to the poisoned bride. Back in my courtyard, Jake spent the next 2 hours treating me. His long, elegant fingers trembled slightly as he inserted the silver needles into my acupuncture points. For someone who prided himself on being a miracle doctor, the complete breakdown of medical logic in his own household was clearly rattling him. Drink this, he murmured, handing me a steaming bowl of black medicinal soup. His voice lacked its usual arrogant calm. It will neutralize the remaining corrosion in your stomach. I took the bowl, blew on it gently, and drank it down. Since I couldn't feel the bitterness or the pain of the internal damage, it just tasted like bad tea. Jake, I said softly, leaning my head against his shoulder. What is wrong with Emma? Is she going to be all right? Jake rubbed his temples, looking exhausted. I don't know. Her pulse is completely healthy, yet her nervous system is reacting as if she's being torn apart. I've never seen such an anomaly. I gave her a heavy sedative before I left, but she was still twitching. Host, the system chimed in. He's actually a pretty good doctor. If he figures out that your physical symptoms don't match your lack of pain, or that her lack of symptoms doesn't match her agony, we might get exposed. He won't figure it out, I replied smoothly, because humans possess a wonderful trait called confirmation bias. He wants to believe Emma is crazy and I am a saint. I will give him exactly what he wants. Maybe. I hesitated, looking down at my hands. Maybe Emma is suffering from a psychological backlash? She has studied poison for so long. Perhaps she accidentally ingested something that affects the mind rather than the body. Jake froze. He looked at me, a sudden light of revelation in his eyes. A psychological backlash. Of course. Her master always warned her that playing with dark toxins could warp the mind. She desires to see you suffer so badly that her own mind is fabricating the pain as a hallucination. I nearly choked on my own spit.
Wow.
He actually rationalized it for me. The man was an Olympic-level mental gymnast. You are so kind, Sarah. Jake sighed, kissing my hand. Even after she tried to kill you again, you're trying to find a medical explanation for her behavior. Don't worry. I will strictly confine her to her courtyard until she recovers her senses. I won't let her harm you again. Thank you, husband, I whispered, smiling sweetly into his chest. Oh, she wasn't going to harm me again, but she was definitely going to keep trying. And every time she tried, she would pay the bill in full. Confinement did not suit Emma. For the next 3 weeks, her courtyard became a localized zone of terror.